Hi, today I'll be teaching how to make simple bar graphs in Excel. So you can either import your data, just copy and paste it from somewhere, or you can type out your data. Most of the times you have to type it out, so that's what I'll do today. I'll make a simple graph, and I'll call it the importance of Excel, because I think it's a pretty important tool. And let's say I'll make it simple. We can have not important, somewhat important, very important. So I have my categories in one column, which is column B. Okay. And then in column C, I'm going to say, impact to job performance. And I'll put it in a percentage. So I will say not important, it's not that important to impact your job performance. I'll say maybe that's 20%. It's somewhat important, I would say the impact is 50%. And very important, I would say it impacts it a lot, 100%. So what I'm going to do now is, now that I have my data listed out, I'm going to create, I like to make Excel look pretty, so I'm just going to put some borders around. And what I did was I went to home, clicked on the little border here, and I put all borders. So I'll put a line around all of my cells, and again around the same thing. Now to the actual graph. You want to highlight all of your data. Then you want to go to Insert, Column, and you want to look and see what do you want your graph to look like. So I kind of want it to be a simple bar graph. I'll click on this one. And let's say I didn't like that. I could go back and I could just say right click. I could right click on my data and I could format. I could change my chart type, and let's say I wanted it to look like cones. So I could click on that data there. And now it's a cone. But I'm going to go back and make it look like a simple bar graph. So you could shuffle back and forth and make it look like what you want to look like. Make it look like what you want it to look like. So right now, you see not important is at 20%, somewhat important is at 50%, and very important is at 100%. Now what I can do is I can make this graph a little bigger, and how you do that is you go to one of the corners, so your cursor is across, and you just make sure it turns into an arrow, and you bring it in or out as you like. Next, you want to format your graph. So you go to the design here, and you just can click around and make the graph look how you think it's best. You can use this arrow. There's a couple of different options. You can go up or down. And I kind of like this. This looks simple and nice. You could also change the look of your graph. I like the blue graph here, 3D. And let's say you wanted another color other than blue, red, green, purple, or orange. You click on one of the bars, and it actually clicks on all of them. You right click and you format the data series. Then within the fill, go to solid fill, color, and you pick another color. So I went to more colors. Let's say I wanted it to be a bright red. Clicked on that, and now they're all a bright red. What if I wanted very important to be a different color? I double click on that one so that only that's highlighted. You'll see it highlighted over here. Right click it, format data point, because I only want to change the color for that. And let's say I want to make that green. Now only that one is green. So I'm highlighting and saying it's very important. Now what's great about Excel is you don't have to keep creating the graphs over and over. If I wanted to create another similar graph that said, salary impact of Excel. So if we wanted to graph the importance of that, I could copy my graph data here, all of my data, and I could copy my graph. I click on the graph, right click it, copy. I just click any cell where I want the graph to be, right click again, and then paste. scroll down so we could see it a little better. Now, this graph here is referencing this data. I don't want that. I want it to reference this data. So what I would do is I would right click, select data. Select data is telling us which data we want this graph to reference. Highlight, I just click on this cell here, the one with the little red arrow, looks like a graph, and then I highlight the new data that I want it to reference. Click on the graph again, click on that little icon again, I press OK. Then I may want this graph to be in a different color. So I click on one of the bars, which really means all of them. When you double click, it's just for that one data point. Go to design again, and then maybe I just want them all to be purple. And maybe I want very important, if I just wanted to change that one, or maybe somewhat important, I want to just highlight that one. I double click it, right click, format data point, and maybe we want that fill to be a solid fill of orange. Okay, so you could go back and forth and play with the data and just copy and paste, and now I have all of my charts looking the same way. And what I like to do also in the view is just take off the grid lines. So you go to view and grid lines. So it's really simple to create a graph. You highlight the data, so I'll just delete it. We'll go over really quickly. You highlight the data, insert, go to the kind of graph you want it to be, column in this case. You click on it, your graph appears. And from there, you go to the corner, you make it as big or as small as you want it to be. Under design, you pick your layout, and then you pick if you how you want it to look. Maybe you want a black background. Okay, whenever you want to design it, you just click on the graph, it'll go to design. If you want to go to layout and add, you know, titles and so on, you can do that. You can add a chart title. Okay, so it's very simple to create Excel graphs. I'll be going over line graphs and pie graphs in my next video. Hope you found it helpful. This is Siobhan.